Hello. So, I'm doing a live video for today. I look like crap. My car looks like crap. My house looks like crap. Everything looks like crap. That's fun. I need to wash my jacket. I'm like huddling down. Kind of overstimulated the last couple days. A lot going on. My hormonal shift, and I have a lot of stuff that I'm trying to balance at once. Normal stuff, but like I've been disabled for the last 5+ years, so I'm finally out of a spot in my life where, like I'm over the past 2 months, I'm fully functioning again, can work and walk and talk and feed myself and, deal with hygiene and stuff and my medical stuff all at the same time while, like keeping my house organized and stuff, it's cluttered, and I'm slowly going through and decluttering and also like scrubbing the nicotine off the walls and some mold that was left over on the wall in the kitchen from the hurricane, which is now gone. I found this really cool product called, it's Clorox spray stuff, and like it foams, and it's like a really good cleaner. I was using it at somebody else's and I was cleaning, and I'm like, man, I'm always on the hunt for like the best cleaners. Many years ago, probably about 7 years ago, I used to work for McAfee Funeral Homes, and they had the best cleaners. They had foam Windex, and this is the best Windex that I have ever used in my life. My grandmother owned her own cleaning business and cleaned for 3 Enterprise, which was a partner of Hollingsworth, was Hollingsworth partner, who is the majority owner of Greenville. So my grandmother would clean random places and stuff for she's a 3 family member, and and my mom works for the school district and does a lot of cleaning and stuff. That's not her primary job, but that is a big part of her job and my stepdad's job. They both worked for the school district since the 90s. So, in fact, both working at schools that I went to in Greenville. So, my mom was actually the nacho cheese lunch lady when I was at Northwood. So, and my stepdad was the plant engineer of Whithampton. He started there before I got into high school and is still there. My mom left Northwood about the time that I left middle school, and she's worked at various schools around the Greenville County. In fact, she worked at Overbrook, and is a pre-K school for its public school, and it's also got its special like elementary, like young kids classes for special education. And it's really hurt me over the years, her working there and being like, oh, all these kids, autistic kids and stuff, when she actually has all her kids, are all 3 disabilities, but none of them are autistic. I don't have an autism diagnosis because the diagnosis is based around people with ADHD. It's flipped. My brother has ADHD because that's what the fuck he has. My sister, who is intellectually disabled, has a diagnosis of intellectual disability because she's not autistic, and you don't give a diagnosis of ADHD to someone who can't walk and talk or feed themselves. So my mom has had to work. She's not there anymore, but she had to work at this fucking elementary school with kids who were, and come home and be like, oh, I work with all these kids that are autistic and stuff. And it's like, what a slap in the face. Like, how utterly, utterly grotesque, for that to be the situation. Not only is she, working at the school, but she is the plant engineer for that school. She is the main person that takes care of those kids in their environment. And can't even do that for her own kids. Like, can you define slavery any more hardcore than that right there? That's really, 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 really gross. Like that, I just can't think of anything that's like, it's just absolutely terrible. She don't even realize, because when you deal with something that is like that hardcore and that demeaning, like you can't even face it. It has taken me 5 years of studying and researching and dealing with, and 30 visits to the hospital in the past 2 years to deal with all of them, epilepsy, the seizures. I went into status epilepticus, Tourette's, narcolepsy, depression, all kinds of different situations completely alone, because my family is dealing with their own nightmare of knowing what a truth is and the world around them constantly gaslighting them. So, and this is something, like my sister, was able to go to public schools and stuff and like I explained her disability, like she was able to go into schools, when she can't be taught. She doesn't have that kind of intellectual functioning. But but the reason why that was such a big thing is because before 1970, for a period of 30 years, they had it to where, people like her would just have to be in an adult daycare. And those places, if it's not a funded, government, place, because they closed institutions and stuff. And also, that was the point, is that my mom wouldn't want to give my sister up for adoption, so she would do an adult daycare thing. But if it's not regulated by the government, then you get a lot of abuse and stuff, like just all kind of weirdness and stuff. So, it needed to be something that is watched over really carefully. And so, now that she's out of public schools and stuff as an adult, she is an adult daycare. And, those are all pretty heavily regulated and stuff. There's enough people that do and go around in those communities, and they're, the people that work there are really great. Thrive Upstate is a company that's in South Carolina that helps out tremendously in all kind of different areas with situations like my sister. She doesn't she doesn't have an active medical situation, but if she, the times that she's had to have her pump replaced in her brain, those people will do stuff. Like, they'll come out, like my mom will get so many, just like as the lady that I'm working for or helping, that just come out of a nursing home, she gets so many allotted hours and stuff for, a nurse to come out and do cleaning and all this stuff. Well, my mom in that situation would also get that kind of care until my sister is back on her feet and able to go back into an adult daycare. For a normal person, that'd be until they go back to work, so, and it kind of correlates with that until my mom, and my mom goes back to work, when my sister goes back to daycare. So, on that note, I am the proud new owner of a website. As of today, I got the name nailed out as autismspectrumdisorderx.com. It might not be up and running with any information until next year, because I have to refine the information over and over and over and over again to get because I mean, I am the person, you know, who owns it and is creating it. So, I have to work extra hard on the information and stuff and make sure I don't, you know, simplify it as, God, dry skin on my face. That's frustrating. Wintertime. You know, I have to make sure it's good, you know, and simple, because it is like, not only is it important for me and stuff, but I need to direct this information to the public in as, you know, is to as many people as possible. You know, I don't need anybody I need it to be very well defined. You know, I also am going to include as many visuals as possible, because I think that is important for people. I think people really enjoy, you know, we can see all across the internet, especially younger people and stuff. Like, it is just, you know, it's something that's pretty basic, that information is, you know, people learn in all kinds of different ways, but people, you know, I know when I'm reading through stuff, if I have like little visuals to, you know, break out the crayons kind of thing, like, then it's easier for me to, like, understand what's being said and stuff, and also is more empathetic. So it's gonna take some time, but I am excited about that. I'm excited to have my resources and my information more, you know, defined in my mind and stuff. Like, I can rotate the information over and over again, and you know, learn from it, bring up new points and stuff, and make more points with it, and appeal to a wider audience, you know, because it's not just the people who, like, there's just so many people that it affects. It's really crazy. You know, and a lot of times, like, I made the point with one of my posts about neurodivergence and, you know, like, Black appropriation and stuff. It's like, I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, you know, because these are the same, a lot of the same people doing this are people who have advocated for, you know, racial civil rights movements and stuff. And then, you know, when it comes to this kind of thing, they're doing that, which is, you know, the definition of a personality disorder. Like, it's like that whole 360, like, you can't see in 360, you know, and that's also the reason why I worked a lot, you know, and think it's, you know, an admirable thing to work with some people who are racist, because it's like, you know, there's a root cause for it, and, you know, those people are not autistic. That's not what that is. They definitely think they are autistic because they are not done. Because and people know this. This is this is one of the big things that pisses me off, is because people know that autism is something that develops over a lifespan. Because you will hear people say who have a personality disorder that they're autistic because they can't see fully in 360. Like, with a personality disorder. And so it's like, no, that's not correct. Like, because something hasn't completely manifested for them. So, in fact, I have gotten some of my definition from people, like, you know, like, I have, not my definition, but some of my points and stuff that made me realize that, like, you know, this is something that is hidden, that, you know, not on purpose, because these people literally have these little bits and pieces of information stuck in them, and they don't realize, because autism is so rare, that's what it is. It's just something that's brushed over. It's like, oh yeah, that's that, you know, when somebody like me is sitting right there, like, you know, and people don't realize that it's like, no, like, this is a real thing, that personality disorders are in no way, shape, or form autism. Like, you know, it's a neurological situation that pops up, you know, like other disorders and stuff. that it's not something that you take medication for, that in fact a lot of medical and scientific study on the actual, like, on the situations that pop up, like, you know, epilepsy and narcolepsy and Tourette's and stuff over the years have come because there are two separate types of neurological situations that develop within a human that are set. Like, you know, that there is a disorder that is actually, you know, a subset of normal neurology. And if you have normal neurology, then you are able to have to go, you know, and it's, you know, not something you want, of course. Nobody wants a mental illness diagnosis or disorder, but like, it is something that, you know, like, you can go and do it, like, you can, you know, go and get help with and stuff, like, and having the opposite of it, like, proves that, you know, so it's like, it really doesn't make sense that, you know, the erasure of the, what is it, in medical practice, or in scientific practice, like the foundation, you know, is like, but which is really interesting because that is also a literal representation of a personality disorder, like such as bipolar disorder is in itself, and it'll keep repeating itself over and over. You know, there's like a mathematical study, equation complex theory called Mandelbrot's that are actually represented by that, where the people will literally keep, or like the math will like literally keep repeating over and over in itself. And that's what's done, like what that's happening because they've anchored in to like a specific situation that, but the thing is that it is the reason why that they are able to have the benefits that they have in the first place. So it's like you literally can't blow up, you know, and destroy the world if you want to expect to live. Like, it is, this is like, you know, it's like, it's not even like having vegan hamburgers. Like, it's like, you know, having, wanting vegan hamburgers, but like taking all of any kind of food source or plant life or animals, everything out of the picture. Like, it would be, yeah, I don't know, it's just really crazy because like what it boils down to is complete insanity. Like, they have absolutely no point. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It proves itself wrong to infinity. Just as much as they repeat it, like, that's as much as it proves it can also be proved against it. And also prove that the actual definition of, reprove like what personality disorders are and how they work. Like, it's just making it more defined. And so, which it doesn't need to be. I mean, there doesn't really need to be any more study on personality disorders. You know, awareness, you know, I don't think there's ever, you can ever, you know, have too much awareness of stuff because, like, or spread of information, if it's factual information and scientifically based, because words do go away. Paper does, you know, go away. Information does dissolve. And so, like, things do need to be repeated, you know, just like when I end this and I quit listening to this, you know, video, this, or to a song, or like, you know, when I stop this, like, you know, you won't hear my words anymore. So that does mean, you know, that physical representations of things are great, like visual representations and web pages and stuff that you can save and, you know, come back to, or, you know, public broadcast stations and stuff where information is repeated. You know, it's not propaganda if it's scientifically and like medically factual and stuff. That's why we have commercials about stuff like medicine and stuff. Where back in the day about medications, but for a lot of people, like, that information is actually really important. But Oh, my phone's going in and out. I am taking a little bit of a breather today. I feel better than I did yesterday. I feel good. I was just way overstimulated because of outside and inside reasons. So, I just went and got a sandwich to cheer me up, and also because I was hungry. But, I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of the day. I kind of want to take a break on this stuff because I got all my points out, but at the same time, I think I'm going to mostly, focus on my website and getting the information down for putting it on the website and stuff. So, because that is the point, is that I want to have it out there. So people who really do want to know, it'd be nice if something were to be done about it, because it causes a lot of problems socially, in the world, having information that's not correct. But it is for people who are something's not, doesn't make sense here. If this can save somebody from, having a depression diagnosis, or, spending $1 million on trying to, cure their kid of something that they literally do not have, only because it's down to a diagnosis, that's really, or a definition, not a diagnosis, but a definition area of a diagnosis, that's insane. So, and you got a couple people doing that, that's billions of dollars. So, if that's not an actual known, if it's just waiting for somebody to do the work, then that's what I'm going to do. Even if it takes the rest of my life explaining it, because this is actually my life, and it is something that I have actually, been dealing with, I was born like this. So, not only me, but my mom had me. So, my family, my grandmother raised me, all my aunts, and uncles and stuff were around, and siblings my entire life, it's a reality. So, it's important work. My friends' lives matter and stuff. Their existence matters, so, yeah. But, ooh, a pain. I don't know what, it's just shooting. Ugh. My face is a little swollen today, which is kind of weird, but it's warm, kind of swollen. It's weird. It's not too bad, not too big of a thing. Kind of quiet today, trying to keep other stuff off my mind. Just kind of a nervous wreck at the moment. Not too bad or anything, but definitely teetering. This week is going to be a little bit slower for me though, because I mentioned, a little bit of difference in this week with what I'm doing, on previous posts and stuff. But it's cold. It's going to be cold for the rest of the year. I'm not sure what's going to happen for Christmas, but, yeah. I, will probably be venturing out to see my friends this coming Friday, because I didn't last night because I was absolutely not feeling good, and I didn't the week before because my car was screwed for a little bit. So, since it's back working and I feel like crap last night, then I won't feel like crap, this Friday. So I'll be doing that, which would be nice, because I really hated to not, I really, see my friends on the weekend. So, and having that break, and so, the niceness to having the socializing and stuff, where when I've got some plans that I wish I could go do on Mondays and Tuesdays, but I rarely ever am free on those days, even with having a car now. Before it was a transportation issue, and now it's like I usually have something to do on those days. Who knows, I might this week, because it's only a couple hours kind of thing, like trivia and karaoke and stuff, so. But I've got me a Coca-Cola. I'm gonna go finish drinking, and caffeine is still working good. That's awesome. Not having any problems with anything other than this funny facial swelling and whatnot. I'm not really sure. It seems like anything I put in my body is gonna make my face swell. I really don't know what it is, but at some point I probably will research it a little worse. A little more. It could be a lot worse. Like when I was dealing with this stuff with the gabapentin, it was really bad, like to where everything was real tight, and it was like my entire head, and including like the back and stuff. It was terrifying. So it's not doing that. It's just like right here. But all right. I hope everybody has a good rest of their Saturday.